There was a time when Christmas meant more, for the era of one-click ordering and same-day delivery, before our holidays were illuminated by the glow of screens, and long before we started measuring the season's joy in shopping bags instead of cherished memories. Let's travel back to 1960s America, a time when Christmas wasn't just a single day marked on a calendar. It was a feeling, a season that enveloped every neighborhood, every small town street, and every family living room in a way that might seem almost unbelievable to kids today. Back then, the Christmas season didn't kick off with frantic Black Friday advertisements. It began with a subtle, magical signal. Maybe it was the moment a neighbor pulled out their iconic silver tinsel tree from the attic, setting up a rotating color wheel that bathed the room in waves of blue, red, and green light. There were no giant inflatable Santas on the lawn. No elaborate computer-synchronized light shows set to music. The decoration of choice was the simple, humble string of large C9 bulbs, the kind that emitted a soft, gentle buzz, and were warm to the touch, perfect for warming your cold hands on a chilly evening. These lights weren't just decorations. They were beacons of warmth and nostalgia, and the decorations inside the house. Kids didn't scroll through social media for inspiration. They were the creators. Hours were spent at the dining room table, armed with construction paper, scissors, and glue, meticulously crafting paper chains to drape across doorways. We thread popcorn and cranberries onto long strings to hang on the tree, a task that required both patience and a good deal of snacking. We made stars out of cardboard and covered them in glitter, leaving a fine, sparkling dust on the table and floor that would linger for weeks, a shimmering reminder of the magic we were building with our own hands. And somehow, because our hands helped create them, those simple, imperfect decorations felt more valuable, more meaningful than any store-bought ornament today. They were imbued with our effort, our laughter, and our anticipation. Today, kids can track their packages in real time, watching a dot on a map inch closer to their doorstep. But in the 1960s, we learned the art of waiting. The arrival of the Sears and Montgomery Ward Christmas catalogs was a major event. These weren't just catalogs, they were treasure maps, books of dreams. We would spend hours poring over the pages, circling the toys we hoped for: a shiny new train set, a talking doll, a sleek bicycle. We knew we might not get everything we circled, maybe not even the biggest things, but dreaming was a huge part of the joy. The anticipation was a gift in itself. Our parents were masters of stealth, hiding presents in the most ingenious places: the top shelf of a closet, a dusty corner of the attic, sometimes even tucked away in the trunk of the car. And somehow, no matter how hard we searched, we rarely ever found them. Their hiding spots were sacred, preserving the surprise until Christmas morning. The holiday wasn't about the sheer volume of gifts. It wasn't about having everything you could possibly want. It was about hoping with all your heart for that one special thing. And when you unwrapped it, when that one wished-for gift appeared under the tree, the feeling was pure magic. It was a kind of joy that no modern gadget, with all its bells and whistles, can quite replicate. But the magic of a 1960s Christmas extended far beyond the living room. It was woven into the very fabric of the community. Do you remember the neighborhood caroling groups? On cold December nights, small troops of kids, bundled up in coats and scarves, would wander from house to house. We were singing for the simple reward of a cookie and a cup of hot cocoa, and for the joy of spreading cheer. People weren't wary of strangers at their door. Instead, doors would swing open, porch lights would flick on, and families would gather to listen, their faces smiling in the winter chill. 'Twas a beautiful, simple exchange of goodwill. And then there was the grand event, the big family Christmas dinner. There were no catered trays, no ordering takeout to save time. It was all homemade, a feast that took days to prepare. A magnificent ham or a perfectly roasted turkey would be the centerpiece, surrounded by a constellation of side dishes. You'd find Jell-O salads in every imaginable color, glistening on the table. And of course, there was always that one special, traditional dessert that only ever made an appearance at Christmas, even if, truth be told, nobody really liked it that much. Eating it was part of the ritual, a taste of tradition itself. The whole family gathered, squeezing around a table that was probably a little too small, sharing food, stories, and laughter. The spiritual side of the holiday also had a more prominent, tangible presence. Midnight church services were a cornerstone of the Christmas Eve experience. Not everyone in the community went, but everyone felt its influence. You could see the warm glow of candles in church windows, hear the faint sound of hymns floating through the cold, quiet night air. It created a moment of collective pause, a shared sense of peace and reverence. Inside, there was a quiet stillness that settled over the congregation, a moment when even the most restless children would fall silent, captivated by the solemn beauty of the occasion. Christmas felt slower then. It felt softer. It felt sacred, even for those who weren't particularly religious. In the 1960s, love wasn't measured by price tags. A child might receive one big, significant gift and maybe one or two smaller ones. This could be a Lionel train set that would chug around the base of the tree, a brand new twin bicycle with shiny streamers on the handlebars, a doll whose eyes would blink open and shut, or a portable record player that opened up a whole new world of music. We cherished what we received because we didn't have an overwhelming amount of everything. Each gift was special, appreciated, and played with until it was worn out. And when something inevitably broke, it wasn't immediately discarded and replaced. Dad would bring it to the kitchen table, pull out his screwdriver and a bit of patience, and fix it. There was a belief in permanence. Nothing was considered disposable, not our time, and certainly not the people in our lives. This mindset fostered a deeper appreciation for the things and the relationships we had. Perhaps Christmas itself hasn't really changed. It's the core spirit of love, giving, and togetherness is timeless. Maybe it's we who have changed. Specific gifts from those years have long since faded. The warm C9 bulbs have dimmed, and many of those cherished traditions have quietly slipped into the past. But the memories, the feelings they evoked, they're still here, vivid and potent. The memory of the fresh, sharp scent of a real pine tree filling the house. The crisp, exciting sound of wrapping paper being torn away on Christmas morning. The comforting warmth of a living room, glowing softly from the tree lights, feeling like a small, self-contained miracle against the dark winter night. Christmas in the 1960s wasn't about achieving a picture-perfect holiday. It was messy, it was imperfect, but it was real. It was about being together, finding joy in simplicity, and holding on to one another, especially when life wasn't always easy. So if you remember those years, take a moment this holiday season to hold on to that feeling. Close your eyes and recall the magic. 'Cause back then, in a way that feels both distant and deeply familiar, Christmas just meant more. Thanks for walking down memory lane with me. If these memories resonated with you, please share your own in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.